And if you're selling in 2026, it ain't 2021, it ain't 2022. You need to stand out from the competition. Your home has to be showcased in the right fashion, exposed to the maximum amount of buyers in the market, or you get stuck and it's a very frustrating scenario for you, your realtor, your family, everybody involved. Okay, February numbers just dropped and they're actually kind of interesting. Home sales picked up compared to January, but when you compare it to last year, the market is still running a little cooler. About 8% fewer homes sold overall. And that slowdown is showing up in a few different places. Prices across the region are down 5.6% year over year. Homes are taking 50% longer to sell. And while buyers are still dragging their feet, the homes I list are still moving. And that boils down to my approach, which is why you got to give me a call. But let's zoom out. Inventory levels are holding steady at about 2.6 months of supply, which means we're not in a red hot seller's market anymore, meaning the wrong approach will leave you dead on arrival. So skip ahead if you're planning a move in 2026, and if you're here for the numbers, stick around for my breakdown. Let's pull back the curtains. In February, 340 homes sold across Waterloo Region, which is actually a strong jump from January, but still down 8.1% year over year. That tells us buyers are thawing out, the birds are starting to chirp, and we're gearing up for spring. Of course, the big question for most homeowners is what's happening to prices? Let's dive in. The average sale price across all residential properties in February came in at just over $725,000, which is down 5.6% compared to last year. Breaking that down by property type, detached homes hovered just under $867,000, semis hovered just over $670,000, townhomes landed at just under $614,000, and condos sold on average for $411,000. Prices are still trending downward compared to last year, but to really understand the market, we also need to look at volume. How many homes are actually changing hands? In February, 740 new listings hit the market, which is actually down almost 16% compared to last year. And if we look at relative supply and demand economics and market fundamentals, when supply comes down, that could leave the opportunity for demand to be relatively higher relative to that supply. If supply goes down, demand goes up. So we'll see what happens in the next few months. At the same time, Waterloo Region ended the month with a 2.6 month supply of homes, which is essentially unchanged from last year. The average home took 37 days to sell in February, which is a 54% increase compared to last year. So homes are taking longer to sell. This isn't the lightning fast market we saw a few years ago. Buyers have time, options, and negotiating power, and sellers need the right pricing and strategy to stand out. Okay, so if you're buying or selling in 2026, what do the numbers and the trend lines actually mean? So let's have a look here. We'll look at the stats for the region on Cornerstone. We'll scroll down here, and if we look at past performance, what does that mean for future performance? Past performance is not necessarily an indication of future performance, but we can kind of extrapolate what's happening when we look at the trend lines. When we go back to, we already looked at sales here, but when we go back to months of supply, this graph dates back to 2013, okay? So 13 years back. You can see months of supply. Again, refresher. Months of supply is how many months would it take to sell off the current inventory at the current rate that homes are selling. So this graph goes back to 2013. In 2013, 2014, months of supply were hovering anywhere from 2.5 months to 4 months. And as things started heating up in 2016, months of supply went down. Competition went up. It was the first time we really started to see multiple offers happening on many different property types. And months of supply is down. That means the rate that homes were selling relative to what was on the market, it was going down. So things were flipping very quickly. Half a month of supply, 1 month of supply, this was very fast. Then things flattened out in 2017, 2018, went a little bit sideways, but still moving pretty quick. And then we had the pandemic beginning, things softened up a bit, but things started selling very fast. And the pandemic spiked activity and months of supply went down. Then we had the peak of the market in 2022. And as you can see, months of supply is cyclical every year, but you can see the trend line is very, very high. It's an upward trend line. This is last year where we hit 4 months of supply. We're getting back to those 13 levels. And I expect that this trend line will either likely go up a little bit higher or be probably the same as last year. So that's not great if you're trying to sell and achieve a max price. But again, you don't make the rules and you don't control the market. You just have to look at the wind, which way the wind is blowing, put up your sails in the right fashion, and hit the ground running. So without boring you folks with analyzing the numbers, the trend lines, etc., if you're selling in 2026, it ain't 2021, it ain't 2022. Delusional optimism is not a marketing strategy for 2026. Sorry, it's the same it was last year, where you need to stand out from the competition. Your home has to be prepared and showcased in the right fashion, exposed to the maximum amount of eyeballs and buyers in the market. You need to have the right pricing strategy, whether that's pricing your home at market, selling it within an average of 37 days, or underpricing your home deliberately to create a multiple offer scenario and be able to bid and negotiate those numbers up if you have the right person negotiating for you. Or you get stuck for 6 months, 8 months, a year at an overpriced listing, and it's a very frustrating scenario for you, your realtor, your family, everybody involved. The big debate for sellers still is, should I sell now? Should I wait till the summer? Should I wait till the fall? At the end of the day, that answer to your question is tailored depending on what you want to do. If you need to sell to line up school, then yeah, you need to get on the market in the next couple months. If you don't need to sell, you're planning to retire, then maybe it makes sense also to sell sooner than later, because we know what the market's doing now. In 6 months from now, no one has a crystal ball. And if you need to get your price, you might be waiting for a long time to get your price. It could be a year, 2 years, 3 years, nobody has a crystal ball. So ultimately, if you're flexible, I think getting on the market when there's lower inventory levels, it gives you the opportunity to stand out as a seller, for your home to stand out. There's less competition now in the spring. As we get deeper into March, April, May, there's gonna be 50% more inventory than there is now. Again, that's my crystal ball prediction. But looking at the trend lines of every year, the most volume happens in the spring. The most inventory hits in the spring. So if you wanna have competition, then wait 2 or 3 months and you're gonna have more competition. It's gonna be a little bit more difficult. Yes, there will be more buyers, but buyers, when they have options, they naturally are gonna gravitate towards the best home, the most updated home, the most turnkey home, and the home that's priced correctly. They're not gonna pay you 100 grand more for your home just because you put Brazilian flooring 20 years ago into your place that is not, it doesn't count as an upgrade now, unfortunately. Hate to be maybe a little bit harsh, but buyers are comparison shopping. You aren't the only game in town. So you gotta be diligent in this market. Okay, buyers. Inventory is lower now. There's a little bit more competition. I'm still seeing multiple offers on my listings. We are still seeing multiple offers in some other listings in the region as well. So as the spring progresses, more volume is gonna hit. You're gonna have more options, but you also are gonna have more competition with other buyers going after the same nice home that you like. Other people are probably gonna like it too. So things might become a little bit more competitive, especially for the homes that are priced correctly or underpriced, or if they're in a low turnover neighborhood that's highly desirable. You're gonna have to still move quick. As a general blanket statement, yes, the ball is more in your favor. It's more in your court, where you can be a little bit more relaxed. It's not 5 years ago where things were insane, but you still gotta move quick. And no one here is telling you to buy now if you don't need to buy. The market, I think, still will either be flat or it's probably still gonna go down this year. There's room to go down. And who knows what's gonna be happening in terms of politics in the world, etc. All these things have influence on all markets, whether it's houses, cars, watches, luxury goods, it doesn't matter. All these things have an impact. So you need to make a move when it's right for you. If now's the time you need to move up to something larger, you just had another child and you need more space, then guess what? Time to get your house ready to sell, put it on the market, sell it, and then go buy something that makes sense for you. If you're looking to downsize, same thing. If the kids are gone to university and the home's too much for you to maintain right now, or you want to retire and you want to get down to something a little bit more manageable, or get into a condo so that you can travel to Florida or Europe or whatever you want for months at a time without any headaches, then now's the time. If you don't need to sell, then don't sell. Like that's the bottom line. A lot of confusion is created when there's many listings on the market now at dreamer prices, and unfortunately they're on the market for 6 months, 8 months, 10 months, and they're not sold, and they create a lot of confusion for people that actually want to buy. They're looking at that and saying, well, I like your house, but it's 200 grand too much. Or conversely, sellers are calling me comparing the listings on the market. Well, my house is way better than that other house down the street. I got a finished basement. I have a better lot. My house has got to be more expensive than that house. And in fact, that house isn't going to sell. It's going to be here after your house is sold and closed. That house will still be on the market, still overpriced. So these are the things. There's a little bit of confusion. So buyers, buy when you need to buy. If you don't need to buy, don't buy. If you need to rent, then rent. Do what's right for you and what makes sense for you. The most important thing is you need to have someone in your corner that understands your situation and can tailor the advice of the market and position it for you so that you can go in the right direction. That's ultimately what it boils down to. No one is here telling someone to buy or sell. So that's why people come to me, because ultimately, I don't care if you buy or sell. I'm only here to help you get to where you want to get to. If you want to sell and you're serious about selling, call me, let's sit down, let's talk about it, let's make a plan to optimize your situation, optimize your net dollars in this market. If you're gonna take the wrong approach, go with a discount agent, skimp out on prep work, skimp out on marketing, then the net at the end of the day is gonna be worse for you. If you're buying in this market, you don't wanna overpay. If a home is too much, you gotta have someone that's gonna tell you straight up, I don't think you should buy this home. Let's buy something else. That's more value that you're gonna have equity in eventually, rather than overpay for something and then let's say the market drops another 5%. Now, you're gonna be in a tough spot, you're gonna be flat, or maybe you need to sell in a couple years and you're gonna be losing money. So you don't wanna be there. No one can predict the market, but you gotta be smart in this market. Sellers that list with me, we cover all the bases. I can't control the market. We optimize every part of the transaction, every part of the interaction, every part of your home to warrant an ideal result. There's no such thing as perfect, but we want to control all the variables to optimize the result for you. And if you want to just wing it, you're not going to be optimal. You can't just wing it and put a rocket up in space. There's a lot of thinking and moving parts in order for that to happen smoothly and successfully. So this ain't rocket science, folks. We'll see you next month. Take care. Peace out.